Tomorrow, another dubious first for Donald Trump. The disgraced former president is scheduled for a virtual interview with a New York probation officer. The interview is required as part of Trump's pre-sentencing report after being found guilty on all 34 counts in his Manhattan criminal trial. Today, Trump was in Las Vegas for his first official rally since his conviction. And once again, the perpetually aggrieved Queens-born builder played the victim and projectionist as he falsely accused the Biden administration of doing things we all know he's just itching to do if he gets another chance in the White House.
The only way he can get elected is to cheat. But this time they're using weaponization of Department of Justice, go in to see the local DAs, go in to see the attorney generals to cheat.
Joining me now, former Republican Congressman Joe Walsh of Illinois, now an independent and director of The Social Contract. Former Congresswoman Donna Edwards of Maryland and an MSNBC political analyst. And Andrew Desiderios, senior congressional reporter at Punchbowl. Thank you all very much for coming back to the Sunday show. Okay, I'm going to leave you out of this right now, Andrew. Joe and Donna, your reaction to Donald Trump saying the only way he can get elected is to cheat. He's saying that about President Biden.
I love to be with you on this set, on this show, and we have fun. Jonathan, this is scary, and this is dangerous, and I don't want to smile, and I don't want to laugh about it. There was an insurrection 3.5 years ago that he incited, and he's doing the same damn thing this year. He's lying to his voters, and, Jonathan, he wants there to be violence again if he loses. We can't normalize this.
Donna, I'm assuming you agree.
Look, I totally agree with what Joe has said here, and I mean, I think the scary part about this is that it's not only Donald Trump, but it's all of his surrogates who are echoing the same wah, wah, wah about the election. And I think while it would be fun to, laugh and smile about this, this is really serious and can lead to real violence again, yet again.
I want to show what Congresswoman Elise Stefanik of New York had to say on Fox News' Life, Liberty, Levin about. She said the trial was rigged and is shredding our democracy, yada, yada, yada. Just play it.
This is shredding our democracy. The mainstream media and Democrats accuse the right, but it's really Democrats who are attacking our democracy. And the American people know that this was rigged from the start, and it is an affront to us. President Trump is correct that the real verdict will be rendered this November on Election Day when President Trump wins overwhelmingly.
And so, Andrew, I played that because, everyone's talking about 4 men who are potentially on Donald Trump's short list. But to my mind, who we just saw, that, to my mind, is who I think Donald Trump is going to pick, Elise Stefanik. Does that hold any water in what you're hearing around the Capitol?
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to say Veep audition right there, right? You see many of these potential running mates for Donald Trump going on TV, rushing to defend him in these various cases and advancing some of the same arguments. I agree with you that she is probably a top contender. On Capitol Hill, the conversation usually centers around people like Senator Tim Scott or Senator J.D. Vance. Some conversations involve Senator Marco Rubio as well. There's that question of him having Florida residency and President Trump having Florida residency, and this arcane rule where the top of the ticket and the vice presidential nominee can't be from the same state technically. So how do you address that issue constitutionally? But he is in the conversation. Look, Elise Stefanik is out there doing this because she wants to be Trump's vice presidential nominee, right? She was someone who came up in the Republican Party as someone who was viewed as a sort of a moderate someone who was going to change the face of the party. She started this organization, I believe it was called Winning for Women. It was a Republican women's group that was supporting candidates across the country that were sort of more moderate, more centrist, talking about issues that are more appealing to suburban women voters, for example, that Republicans have lost out on in the last few elections. And you see her transformation sort of in real time here.
Yeah, huge transformation. You invoked the name of another person auditioning for Trump's VP, and that's Senator Tim Scott. Listen to what he said on Fox News. Just listen to what he claims won't happen if Donald Trump wins re-election.
protecting law and justice is job one for President Trump. He will not target his political opponents. He will fire Merrick Garland and restore confidence in the Department of Justice.
For real, Joe, he will not target his political opponents when this week all he said was, oh, you know, I might have to get revenge. Come on.
Jonathan, I served with Tim Scott. Every time Donaghy speaks, I don't recognize who he is. To Andrew's point, I don't know who the VP pick is going to be, but it's going to be somebody who's going to have to lie about the election and say that Donald Trump is a victim right now of a weaponized Justice Department. That's the job requirement.
Donna, what do you
Look, Tim Scott is just like all of these Republican VP wannabes, and they are going down to the very bottom to defend Donald Trump, to say that he's saying things that he doesn't say. I mean, Donald Trump himself has said how he's going to weaponize the Department of Justice. We're not making that up. Those are his own words. And so I think that these Republicans are trying to clean up Donald Trump's act, but it's really not working.
I want to squeeze in one more potential VP nominee, and this is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds at the town hall event. This is, I changed my mind, control room, not element 7, element 6. Watch this.
During Jim Crow, the Black family was together. That's right. During Jim Crow, more Black people were not just conservative, because Black people are always a bit conservative-minded, but more Black people voted conservatively.
Now, the congressman went on with Reverend Sharpton yesterday, and they got into, you know, shouting match with Byron Donalds saying, I didn't say that. I'm not going to sit here and have you lie on me. We just saw that. Donna, why? Can you?
Donald Trump, Byron Donalds posted the video of himself saying that during Jim Crow, over 4,000 fathers, brothers, mothers, sisters were lynched. During Jim Crow, people's rights were taken away from them. During Jim Crow, Black families were terrorized all across the South. Byron Donalds, I don't know what version of America he's living in, but it's not a version that many of our parents and grandparents experienced.
And, you know, I'm going to just give a shout out to my colleague, Joy Reid, who really did a masterful job interviewing him and pointing out all those things you just did, Donna.